Hello, and welcome to episode 159 of Retro Encounter. I'm your host this week, Robert Fenner. I'm afraid Mike Solosi has gotten over his illness, but he's currently trapped on the moon, so you are stuck with me for the conclusion of Mega Man Legends 2. However, I'm not alone. We have assembled a crack team of astronauts to eventually build a rocket and save him. So today I'm joined by Mike Salbato.
Hello.
And Scott Clay, who just finished streaming the game on RPG Fan's Twitch channel.
Still waiting 17 years, Capcom. 17 years.
So, as I said, we are concluding our Mega Man Legends month this week with our conclusion to Mega Man Legends 2. Where we last left off, we had saved the people of Nino Island from Glide and his bird bots. We put a stop to their base at what was it, Calbina? Is it Calbina Island? I should have written that down.
Yeah.
Okay, it's something. We've blown up his base. We've rescued a girl named Shu. We've taught some kids with very goofy character models how to read, and we've headed back to Nino Island to gain the permission of the Guildmaster to dive into the ruins underneath the island. And what a dive it is!
Yes,
Dive.
A literal
dive is
dive.
a good term. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dive in more ways than one. Scott, you hinted at this in our last episode about what was going to be in store. And yeah, you weren't wrong. I'd forgotten just how egregious this section is.
it's terrible. It feels like you're like running through molasses the entire time. Like it's just ugh.
It is a water level, and it does not work.
Yeah. If you think the water levels are bad in like Zelda or other games, you haven't played this one. This is like a very sore spot in this game. I mean, I love the aesthetic. I love the way it looks. It actually feels like you're actually in like the deep ocean because of the way the draw distance works. Like you really can't see in front of you, but you're moving so slow. It just takes you right out of it.
Yeah. Like I don't mind the idea of the water physics, but
yeah.
I think they went like really heavy with it.
Yeah. Whoever designed
I think it would have been. Yeah, I think it would have been cool too. Like because you can get the boots that go underwater. You know, not that you have to do exactly what Metroid and other games do, but if there was at least a way to build something that lets you move faster, an option, that would have been cool.
I'm wondering exactly how they did this because it seems like they just like slowed down the entire game rather than. I mean, there's obviously the jump physics have changed, but
the monsters move just as fast as they would move. Like especially like they move fast. The frame rate's there. I think I don't understand. I don't know the technicality behind it. I'm not that kind of person, but I mean, it just I don't understand. Like whoever played, someone had to play test this game, and someone must have said, "You know what? This is atrocious." I mean, anybody that you play like for 5 seconds and go, "How do you expect someone to go through a dungeon?" There's actually 2 of these dungeons. If you do the optional dungeon in Soul Calibur, there's 2 of these dungeons. Like who thought this was a good idea?
Well, I don't know who playtested this. Maybe it was, maybe they do the same thing they do here in the UK and get a bunch of, like, low-paid hopefuls who are hoping to break into the industry. Yeah. And I'm just imagining, like, the Japanese work culture of them, like, not wanting to shake the boat. And they're like, well, it didn't break. I could get through it. Yeah. It was, thank you, sir.
You can't get through it.
Totally picture that. Yeah. The funny thing is, like, once you get to the first point where you're not underwater, the game feels like it's running at like an insanely high frame rate.
Yeah,
it feels like the controls. You actually have an appreciation for how well the game controls outside of the water when you're in after you've been outside of the water. It's ridiculous.
It's like, what's going on here? Is this too fast? Is this 60 frames per second? What is happening? It just was so jarring every time.
Yes, I'm like, I didn't know that PS1 could like maintain this kind of frame rate, but no, it's just a regular frame rate.
That's if everyone's ever tried to like experience how like people always say, oh, frame rates don't matter, like and stuff like that. That's exactly how a lot of games feel when you go from like 30 FPS to 60 FPS. It's just ridiculous, and that's exactly what this game does.
I don't mind the layout of the dungeon. Like, it's neat, it's interesting.
I think it's designed cool. It's just yeah.
I actually love the aesthetic. I actually like when you get to the very bottom floor and you meet the creepy fish bot that comes out of the darkness.
Is that
Yeah.
the stingray that you ride? Huh?
Yeah, it feels like you're at the bottom of the ocean floor. It's kind of cool. Like just because you can't see in front of you, like that's how. Like if you went on a deep dive, that's probably the visibility you'd have. Like like you could probably see like 5 feet in front of your face, and that's about it.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of cool Mario 64 kind of level there, where you're using this big benevolent ray robot to reach chests on top of pillars. It's I liked what it was trying to do. I find any jumping puzzles in either of these games to be a bit of a nightmare, but it wasn't the worst.
The 2 big rooms in that dungeon where you have to like jump back and forth between those ledges. I lost count of how many times I overshot the ledge and fell all the way down.
It's easier if you use the jet boots and just fly off the ledges instead of actually jumping off the ledges.
But you want to go back up?
No, going back up.
Oh, going back up? Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you were talking about like there's like different like cubicles, I guess.
Yeah.
Those big rooms.
Yeah, I wish I had thought of that. I was rewatching part of your stream last night, and I realized I could have done that.
Well, you get to the bottom of this dungeon, and you have an encounter with Claymore again, Bola's partner, the big sort of gigantor-looking character. He shoots, you circle-strafe, you get the key. I had a bit of a big old mistake at this point. Because before you beat him, Data is there to allow you to save the game. I beat him, I got the key, I saw Data was gone, and I was like, well, if he's gone, I can probably just get out of here, no problem. So I spent about maybe an hour cleaning up all the chests that I missed on the way down, and then I got back up to the top for the second encounter with Claymore, and he killed me.
Oh no!
And I was very upset.
That's like maybe the only spot of the game where there's no like save point before the boss fight.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's kind of weird. It's like I guess it's kind of a surprise when it comes at you, but
yeah, it's basically the way everything was designed in the first game, but the way most of the things are not designed in this game.
You guys have any trouble getting out of this dungeon, or is it just me making a foolish mistake?
No, you didn't make a foolish mistake. It like I knew it was going to happen. So I mean, I was kind of prepared for it. I'm like, yeah, I got to fight Claymore when I go back up. But at the same time, it's still circle-strafe. Once you get the pattern down, it's not bad. I don't think he's that hard.
He's not hard. It's just I was out of
you were out of
everything
you had.
Yeah,
so it's a fair assessment. It's like the game doesn't kind of warn you about that one, which is not fair.
Oh, no, I'm like, I was okay getting out. I mean, it takes forever to get out because I had to do the water level adjustments on each floor because I didn't want to miss anything. So, yeah, if I had done all of that, I assume that's what took you so long, too.
Oh, yeah.
And then died, I would have been pretty annoyed.
Oh, yeah. It was upsetting.
I do like how Claymore does his best Fat Albert impression and goes, hey, 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 every time he shoots you, which is pretty funny.
He does, doesn't he?
Yes.
So with the second key in hand, our next destination is the Salbato Island and the Salbato Ruins, where the Bonds are back on their BS and are raiding the city in search of all the treasure they can find. And this leads us to this is like kind of like a desert. It's a desert island with kind of a vaguely video game Arabian town setting, and it's kind of similar to the assaults on Catalog's Island. Of you go through different sectors of this city, fighting the Bonds and fighting the Servbots in search of keys to open the way to where Teasel is. What do you guys think of this area?
Actually, I always like the desert / oasis things in every game. I think they're some of my favorite aesthetics. I think I like the beach, so the desert reminds me of the beach. I like the beach area. I actually like this area. I like this dungeon. I do not like the optional dungeon because hey, let's add another underwater section. If you get the S rank, the S license from the Diggers Guild, you can go to the optional one, right?
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
And it's there's another underwater dungeon underneath the desert, by the way, which makes no sense. So I mean, they have all this water in this dungeon.
Well, that's why they have plumbing in the city, and that's where all the water and the cacti come from.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
There is one of the sinks in the town. If you examine it, it says like, interesting. They have running water here.
Yeah. There's I don't know who thought it was a good idea to put another one after the first. Like, come on. Like, that's just it's optional. It's optional, and there's not much in there, and it's not that long, but it's still another underwater dungeon. It's like they had to like maybe find a reason for you to make the hydro boots, like the second time.
Yeah, so you don't just use it once.
Yeah.
Now I did not do this optional dungeon because I gave the S rank test a good college try, and I could not get it, and I could not. I didn't have time or patience to perfect my run through that test before we had to record.
The S rank that Diggers get, it's actually really hard, but the one thing, if you figure it out, if you manage to, the lifter is actually really strong. People, like, if you lift things up and throw them at other enemies, they die immediately.
That's
the trick. It's hard, though. It's hard to, like, get that, like, because you have to be so close to them.
It's hard when they force you to use the lifter.
Yes.
I didn't really realize that you could use it in other settings.
You have to use the lifter in that S-class license, otherwise
really?
You can't pass it. Yeah, it's like borderline impossible without having to throw enemies at each other.
Mike, did you attempt this test?
No, I got the A rank, but didn't get to the S yet.
Yeah. It's a good thing too, because the game doesn't tell you this. Well, it kind of tells you this, but the game gets harder when you get the S rank.
Yeah, well, it does tell you. It warns you before you do each test that the enemies in the dungeons will get stronger, and they recommend you keep a backup save in case it's too much for you.
It doesn't tell you how much stronger they get, though, because they start taking a lot of hits.
Yeah. So, I didn't do the S rank. So I don't know about that underwater dungeon. Or I do, but it's been 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one in the demo. Not the demo. The like when the game plays over.
The attract mode. Yeah. I seem to remember it being a little bit like gloomier and spookier than the Nino Island dungeon from when I last played.
It's a dungeon like the previous ones in the first game. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. The town though, like I like the town. I think one thing this game does much, well, I'm not sure if it's better because the first game doesn't have a lot of it, but a lot of the different events between dungeons, I think there's a lot more variety in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always, in general, like not open world, but like open or outdoor dungeons are usually more interesting than just another cave. So I like when they put you in these scenarios where you're like in the last episode where you're on top of this platform defending the skies. This one you're like defending the town. It's just there's a lot of variety, which breaks it up. On top of the fact that the ruins themselves have like way more, any variety versus the first game.
Yeah.
So I think they did that a lot better.
So as you make your way through the town and wipe out the serve bots and steal their keys and make sure that the townsfolk are okay, you eventually come face to face with Teasel again, who it kind of seems like things should have been settled between Teasel and Mega Man, but he's still got a bit of a grudge, and he's he's holding this golden statue that has like a spiritual reverence from the townsfolk, and he's like, well, I'll just hold this in front of me like a shield, and you wouldn't dare blow it up, would you? Yeah, I know that you can beat this without blowing it up, but I just blew it up.
I was patient and didn't.
I was patient too. You get
I wasn't sure if it was possible, and then I found out later that it was.
Oh yeah, you just gotta like peek and shoot, I guess. That's the best way to do it. Peek and shoot. I think the only thing you get is you get the access to the raceway immediately. It's just like it's.
Oh boy, more racing from the first game.
The racing in this one is actual race though. It's like it's not, you don't get anything from, like, you get like money from it, but it's actually like Mario Kart or something. Like you actually go around in a lap and you actually like jump, you do jumps and get like little time thing. It's actually kind of cool, like little race thing. It's actually impressive.
It's very kind that they didn't gate like the shining laser behind it or something.
Yeah,
Yes.
you get no items from it. You don't have to do it. It's totally optional. But actually, kind of back in the day, it was sorry, sorry. It's actually kind of fun. It's just it's way better than the races in the first game, because that one is like you got to be like pinpoint. This one you just race around the lap. You finish, you finish. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah, I did it a couple times, and I'm glad there's no items behind it. Like, I don't mind it. I think at least the game controls better, so it's easier to do. And I do like the different Mario Kart like setting, but
I like that they try it. I'll say that much.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a mini game there that you can do. It's nice.
I always appreciate the presence of different mini games, even if I don't necessarily want to engage with them.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, unless it's Final Fantasy X, but that's a different topic.
Oh, well,
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, those races.
Unless you were going to get to this, but in that boss fight or right before it, there's a line I love so much where Teasel's talking to the Servbots about stealing everything, and like, stealing everything. It's like, well, you don't have to steal their toilet paper. We're pirates. We're not barbarians.
So good.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. It really sort of serves to flesh out the Bond's personality.
Right.
It just really they did a really good job with those characters. They still are one of the best things about these two games. And then once the town is defended, we head into the ruins, and it's like it's a fire dungeon. There's lava everywhere. There's fire elemental creatures. It's one of these. And this is kind of where my patience with the game started to wear thin, because it's really, really long. It does some things that I liked, but it's very, very long.
It's definitely, it has more of a Zelda length to it than the previous dungeons.
Yeah,
where you have to go this key to get that key to get that key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of key grabbing.
Yeah, I guess I don't mind the length so much. It's another reminder, though, in the game about how brutal the negative status effects are.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, the numbing is bad. That one that like kills your range is also really much. That's a really big problem. But when I stepped in the lava for like half a second, and 3/4 of my life was gone, I was like, "This is a problem."
It's very extreme. You need to stay away from anything that will set you on fire, and you need to have at least 5 or 6 charges of the status healing bottle.
Yeah, you can get the flame chip, and you can buy, or the flame boots if you want. You can get the flame boots you can buy them from the store. But if you don't have,
there's boots.
I didn't know that. I know there's electric boots.
They're very expensive. They're very expensive one. I think it's not the chip. It's one of the ones you have to actually make roll to make. You can actually make boots that protect you from the fire and
I see.
The fire and the ice fire later.
Oh, that would have been nice to have.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, because the fire like resistance like chip or whatever is 150,000, and then there's the other thing, which I think is what you're talking about, is 200,000.
Yeah, that one makes the boots. They make the boots that protect you from standing on a lot of stuff. Eventually, you basically can go on any floor that has a status effect, and you can walk all over it as long as you have that on.
Gotcha.
This dungeon does do one of my favorite things for RPG dungeons to do, or like any game's dungeon, where as you're descending, you get that little sound that you're being watched by an enemy, and you can see this gigantic like Tyrannosaurus Reaver bot through a window, and you can't interact with it, and it's just sort of pacing back and forth, just doing its thing, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with that soon.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're standing near the window when he's walking by it.
Yeah. Oh, does he interact with you?
He'll break through the wall.
Bash through the wall.
Oh, I didn't realize. I should have hung around more.
Yeah, if you sit by the window, he bashes through the window truss like you like actually like Jurassic Park or whatever. He sticks his head in there. It's like, no, can't get you. I'll wait for you.
Yeah, I mean, even without that, I agree with you. I like when games do that, where you're like, hey, here's this thing. It's like so much bigger than anything you fought before.
The super creepy thing though is that there's like this huge T-Rex Reaverbot right underneath this town. Like if you lived in this town, you heard like I think some of this townsfolk say they hear things, right? Sometimes like or like oh man, I would like just the idea that there's a huge like Tyrannosaurus Rex like living under your like under your house or something like that would be like
and it eats
absolutely
lava.
terrifying. Yes,
Yep.
Eats lava.
Yes. I'm going to go live with Oppo and Da now.
Yeah. There I am, safe.
Time
Just
to get
has
off
pirates.
this island, yeah.
Yeah.
And you finally do get to the basement where this creature is roaming around, and you can't fight it the first time you meet it, because you can just hang around and try to destroy it, but it will start eating lava and just healing itself. So it's an unwinnable battle. You have to run into the adjoining rooms of its boss arena to finish up bits and pieces, which so you get some keys, and then eventually you run into Tronbon and Bonbon, and you have to stop the flow of lava to get the third key to the mother lode, and also stop the source of this Tyrannosaurus's dinner.
You're basically cutting off the...
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
This...
I had a good one, but I can't get the words out.
Okay, we'll hold
I'm trying
on
to
to
think like a nacho cheese fountain thing. I know there's a term.
like a fondue.
Like a fondue pot? That's awesome.
Yeah. Lava fondue.
Turning off the fondue.
Yes.
Yeah, I can vibe with that. You got this little minigame mission with Bon and Tron shooting Reaverbots, then picking them up, then throwing them at the flow of lava, and I hated this. I hated this a lot.
It takes a while.
I think that's the thing. It's like that, and then if you're trying to not destroy the statue, the last boss fight is not hard, but it does take a little bit longer than you really want it to.
Every time I knocked down one of these Reaverbots, Bon would basically come and take it out of my hands before I had a chance to grab it, and then he would throw it, and he would miss.
They're bad at it. They're absolutely terrible at NPCs.
Yeah,
they don't help at all.
That kept happening, or I would try to grab the Reaverbot even though it was down, and it would just hit me and then knock me down, and then it was long and not particularly challenging, but just tediously done.
Yeah, you don't feel like you can die or anything unless you step in the lava.
Yeah.
And it just feels like it goes around.
It's long, and I kind of feel that the back half of this game is loaded with these very, very lengthy encounters. No matter how much you've upgraded your parts to increase rapid fire or an attack, it's everything from here just feels so spongy. And I know that you're not using your Buster in this particular battle, but I kind of felt like they were really trying to drag things out.
Yeah, I think if any, there's a lot of enemies that feel like your weapons don't make a difference. It's this is a perfect example of you could have if you at this point in the game, if you had somehow cheated and had the shining laser, you could have the shining laser and at full power, and this would not help you with this boss fight. It was just because you still need to go around and go pick things up. And there's a few of them at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Where you have to do that. You have to do a specific set of things to knock the boss's health down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not a fan personally. So after I think it's after you do this, Bon tries to abscond with the key, and you have to chase after him and blow him up.
You have to actually go.
Do you have
back
to
to the big Reaverbot?
You got to do the big Reaverbot first.
Yeah, then you go to the key, and that's when he's trying to steal the key. So you get a chance. You actually get to fight the giant dinosaur, which is kind of cool. It feels kind of like Monster Hunter. It's Capcom. Capcom does a really good job at that stuff.
Yeah, it's a cool battle.
Yeah, and then you go to Bon.
You go to Bon and shoot him until he falls under the lava, and then Mega Man feels bad because it's kind of a ghastly way to go.
A little bit, yeah.
I threw a baby in the lava.
Yeah, I think it's fun because there's another boss fight between that one. Actually, I forgot about that one too. That's the one with the Gustav.
Oh,
with Tron, you had to actually fight Tron.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, of course, because Tron is nude off screen.
Yes,
yeah,
which is pretty funny when in 2001, I guess, because Mega Man looks like he's about to just die, and Like, he's actually kind of embarrassed to see her like that.
If it was 2018, I'm sure they'd give her a cheesecake shot. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that they just played it for laughs rather than.
I like the Serbots though. The Serbots are like, Miss Tron. They just like try to talk to her and she doesn't care.
Yeah.
Funny scene.
Isn't there some kind of like a similar scene with Roll?
Yes.
Yeah, if you do the right
in both games.
If you do, yeah, I know there is in the first game.
There's a different scene. There's actually two scenes with Roll in this one.
Yeah.
Depends on how much. If you've been mean to Roll, there's a different scene where you can call her a busybody, and then everything costs really expensive. That's not like that. But if you're actually nice to Roll, you can you can walk in on her in the bathroom.
Hooray!
Again, because you walked in her in the first game, but then all of a sudden, like, it only happens when you're good to her. I guess it's weird. You don't actually have to see that scene though to actually get the points.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Mega Man.
Yeah.
So we get the third key after throwing a baby in the lava, and that is
still hilarious.
That is
hilarious. So you just be like, oh, is he dead?
Yeah. Like, oh, sorry. And that marks our time at Salbato Island done. I kind of wish this area was a little bit bigger, but I guess they're all kind of bite-sized, I suppose, in this game to allow for different locales.
I think they also expect you to go to like each of the optional dungeons and expend more time in there, which doesn't account for the top parts of the areas, which are much cooler than the actual dungeons themselves, like the mini dungeons themselves. Mm-hmm. But I think that's like their balance there for that.
So I like the idea of the town. I felt like it was a little, I guess, kind of like all the towns are kind of barren. And as Solosi said in our Mega Man Legends 1 series, I mean, even Catalogs is slightly barren.
Yeah, there's not a lot of humans.
Yeah, and like especially like the city hall area, it's like, why is there just like all of this like open land and nothing is here? It's kind of weird.
You're also questioning why they have cars when you can literally walk faster than most cars.
Yes. Like, where are you driving? There's a police station and like two houses up there.
Everybody needs to be controlling their own conveyance, don't they?
Yeah, makes sense.
And this takes us back to Yosionke, the icy, the snowy area from the very beginning of the game, where the fourth key is held underneath the gallery slash church.
Yeah.
But
I'd missed that, by the way. I remember I was playing a couple nights ago, and I talked to some random person in town, like, "Oh, you should go to the gallery." And I'm thinking, boy, it's like I totally missed where the gallery was.
Yeah.
And then I went to the north, and like, oh, this is called the gallery. I thought this was just it's a church.
I don't know why they call it that.
I
don't know why either.
Maybe it's like a Capcom self-censorship thing. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think they still call it a church, though. Like the priest calls it a church, or
yeah,
something. I don't know. I don't remember.
He does,
and
he name checks God, and he tells you to give money to be blessed by God. But no, it's okay. You don't have to, and I never did. Do you get anything for that, Scott?
If like I said, the game has two morality systems. So if you're really nice, you get to start glowing, and if you're really bad, you get to get the taser from the shady dude in Salbato. But to get good again, to get the discount again, you need to go to the church and donate tons and tons of money.
By your salvation.
So you have to repent.
Yeah, yes. You have to repent by paying money.
Well, I have thoughts on that, but
maybe not the best part. I think everyone does, though.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
that's the only way to get better. That's the only reason why you need to pay the money.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I want my 10,000 zenny back then.
Got suckered.
A fool and his money.
Yes.
That's the ethos of this church.
Yes. Anyway, so there's some ruins.
Well, there's a very, very long train battle with gliding bonds before the ruins, where you have to catch serve bots that are riding on missiles and throw them back at the train, and it takes forever, and you'll probably get hit with a bunch of missiles, and if you're me anyway, and it's long. It's really long.
Yeah, it's another one of those boss battles.
Yeah.
It begs the question, though, why are the serve bots riding on the missiles in the first place? But
they're all little Doctor Strange loves. Dr. Serve love.
Yes. They're just like, it's actually kind of cute to watch them like fly back, like, like they're like their faces change. Like the minute they realize they're about to do something they don't want to do.
Yeah, so you throw a bunch of missiles and then you just have to shoot at the train, and the train is such a sponge. I thought I was maybe doing something wrong and that I had to throw bombs back, and that wasn't the case. It just takes like 20 minutes just to shoot at this one cannon. And I did not like this at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say, if you have the homing missile, which is like the best weapon you can get at that point in the game, even that doesn't track well.
No.
It doesn't, like you can have it
shoots
doesn't
the trees
track well
in the
at all.
background.
Yeah, and it just just barely misses, and it's like, ugh, really?
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought I was doing something wrong because of how long it was taking, but I wasn't. I just had to stick it out. And that allows the priest to tell us to go into the ruins, which it's the requisite ice level of a Zelda-like.
Gotta have that.
Yeah.
Did you guys pick up the treasure chest after the train battle?
No.
I don't think so.
Because there's an item in there that makes the ice level much, much easier. There's another boot. There's another set of boots that makes you not slide.
Oh, okay. I
Something you can miss?
Yeah, right after the train battle, it stops you in this field, right? And to your right, there's a chest there, and you just pick up the chest, and then you make the item.
Huh. Okay.
That allows you not to slide in the...
Is that missable if you don't pick that up? Is that just gone?
No, you could go right back to that area. You could just go right through where the...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can just, But if you don't get that item, the ice level is pain in the butt.
I didn't mind the sliding.
Ice
I
physics.
could manage it. It never really got in the way in the same way that the underwater levels platforms did.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. It's not as annoying as that. But it's like... anything to make the game easier is appreciated, I think.
I don't know what to say about this dungeon, really. It's another one of these dungeons, except you slide around. Sometimes you have to jump on some platforms that will crumble if you stay on them too long. It's long, it's maze-like. You can eventually unlock some shortcuts with some keys that you find. And there's this really awful room at the bottom of it where you have to chase some keys that have legs while those little fat robots pop
you're
out
talking
of the
about
snow.
that one.
Yeah,
See,
what were you thinking of?
I was talking about the mammoth room.
Oh,
You have to get the mammoths in the holes.
I kind of like that
Because
room.
they do not go in those holes.
I didn't have too much difficulty, but it is annoying. It's very annoying.
I think it may have to do with your license or something, but I was in that room for a good 40 minutes.
Okay.
For a good 40
Right.
minutes. Because they would always stop very, very short of the hole.
I think you need to run up to it, right when it's on your tail. Otherwise, it'll just turn around and go back.
Oh, I did everything under the sun. Everything under the sun. The only way to get them in is you need to lure them. I think because this might have to do with if you have an S class license that they stop shorter or they don't because they don't want to go in that hole. Like you can
I had a little bit of difficulty getting them in. Yeah,
I had to shimmy them around to the very corner of the room because if they realize when they're close to the hole and they won't go that way. I don't know what it was. Maybe it could be that you guys are playing on the PlayStation Network also, right?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a disc issue too. But you can watch it on the stream. I sat there for it. It just didn't make any sense to me. I don't remember that room being that hard, ever. But for some reason they just would not go in the hole. You do what you think you'd have to do. You lure them close enough, and then you jump over the hole so that they they follow you, right? But no, every time nah, I'm good. I'll just walk away. And then they walk 40 feet away. It's where you guys going?
I think I had to fall in the hole with them a bunch of times to get them in, but
maybe
you were just too good.
No, I don't think it was that. I think it was just I was just annoyed. I wish it was an issue where you could. It was like, oh my god. Anyway, I had an issue with that room. I understand the room you had an issue with, but that was the room I had an issue with.
There's a room with a missile launching robot and a bunch of keys, and you got to shoot the keys, and then they get knocked down. But then when they're knocked down for about a split second, you got to lift them to get them in your inventory. And then there's endless little fat guys who cause icy damage on contact. And they're everywhere, and they're endless, and this room took me a very long time and all of my resources, so I had to make a hasty retreat to refill all my bottles when I was done putzing around in this room for a good 25 or 30 minutes. But I did get a lot of Zenny from doing it.
Those missile launcher dudes are like the worst enemies in the game.
I'm glad there's only one in that room, but...
Yeah, they do so much damage. There's two in the Salbato one, in the Soul, and they just, the missiles, you don't think, a lot of the enemies don't do that much damage, like the normal enemies, but that one does, and they track you. I wonder why your homing missile doesn't track like theirs tracks, because those things, fly around, they just, they're like, no, we're hitting you. You just gotta deal with it.
Yeah, those are big boy missiles.
Yeah.
Does the homing missile, track better if you upgrade it special? I can't remember.
Even that doesn't track. I mean, these things circle you. It's it's there. Those things are, and they take so many hits from everything. And unless you kill that missile launcher, and you're looking at a bad time in that room. And even after that, yeah, that room is a pain in the butt too.
So there's this room which prefaces the key room, and of course, none of these dungeons are complete without a boss battle. And the boss here. This blob and its platforms and its ice damage and its spongy nature. This and a lot of what came before it it's kind of made me do a little bit of a 180 on this game, and I kind of feel that it has been backloaded with some extremely infuriating segments.
That is a boss that's much easier with the ice boots.
Okay, I imagine that it is, because I fell off those platforms every time.
Yep, you don't slide at all at that. You just
I didn't have
circle around it.
I didn't have trouble with sliding. It's just it would hit me and I would get knocked off.
Yeah, okay.
So, but yeah, I imagine that taking sliding out of the equation would give you one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, it feels like. Again, maybe I just stepped in the fire more than other people, but between that and the ice in this dungeon, I think you're really encouraged to get the things to prevent environmental effects or status effects. But at the same time, some of them are so expensive.
Oh yeah,
everything in this game is very expensive.
Yeah, so it's you look at the price and it seems like, well, that's just an optional thing. I'll just skip that because I don't have that kind of money, but.
You got to spend a lot of time in that. Spend a lot of time in that basement with the missile launcher and the endless spawning fat guys.
Yeah,
and get all that zenny.
Endless spawning fat guys.
Yeah. That gives us our fourth key, which means that we're ready to enter the end game by returning that to Von Blucher on the Sulphur Bottom. And that is when things get kicked into high gear with the green-haired folks that we saw right at the beginning of the game, and we're just kind of lounging about in bed after that point. The master plan is revealed. It's similar to Mega Man Juno's at the end of the first game. Sarah and the rest of the androids from Elysium want to wipe out all of the humans who aren't actually humans. The big reveal here is that they're all artificial life forms which resemble humans and can live as humans, but it seems like humanity has been long dead, which I thought was kind of a neat twist.
Yeah. I like where the plot goes here.
Yeah,
it feels like you kind of knew something was up with these people, and then it's like, okay, well, now something's really up.
I kind of wish that there was more of them, though. I kind of felt like they, in the same way that Mega Man Legends 1's plot was, kind of came at the last minute. I mean, the sequel, it's not nearly as bad at having its plot threads consistent, but these guys, they just kind of disappeared for the past 10 hours, and now they're all back doing their stuff at the end.
They're actually on the ship.
They are, but they don't really.
Yeah,
but they're not involved at all.
Yeah.
They just kind of stuff.
It's kind of weird because if the game was set up a little more open, like I could understand why they did that. But since you have to go to each island in a certain order and it is pretty structured, aside from going back and visiting later, like,
yeah,
I think they could have probably had them a little more involved. And by the way, this is just a total aside, but at the beginning, do they say that there's 4 keys or 3?
4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there's always. If you go to Von Blucher's ship, you go behind Von Blucher's room.
That's what I was
thinking.
Room.
Yeah, there's a room where you can see all the keys.
Yeah, I like that he was very prepared for that. Like he has a room with a key icon on the door.
He's got his little plans.
He knew before. Like, so you know what? There's probably gonna be 4 keys somewhere.
Yes, and I know the exact size of them.
He's nothing if not prepared. Yeah, and we learn a little bit more about Mega Man's past. I found it amusing that Roll named him Mega Man after her favorite game, but it turns out that he was named Mega Man all along.
It's weird, I guess. They gotta find a reason to put his name in there, I guess, right?
I guess so. And they also they give an explanation as to why he was a baby, because apparently he wasn't always a baby. He was like the protege of the Master of Elysium, who decided that he wanted to let these rogue androids, which later became known as the planet's humans, live, much to the chagrin of Sarah, who was all about Blade running them out of town.
Yeah, his main job was to like anybody that was against this, like aberrant units or like unit like and anything that was like against the system or like became independent thinkers. Mega Man's job originally was to, go off them. Hey, you're dead. It's technically like a murder robot. Yeah, murder robot.
Yeah, he's a Blade Runner. He's an E unit of Yorha.
Yep. Yes. Exactly.
But the Master changed his mind, and the Master ended up offed himself for it. And has stored his memories inside of Mega Man, who then had his memory wiped and was turned into a baby. Which kind of sounds like they were just trying to explain why he was a baby, rather than... Because that's a very odd thing to do. But...
Yeah. It's like someone had the idea, it's like, okay, we want to make him a baby here, so let's find a way to make that work.
Oh wait, he held authority in the past? Okay. All right. He transformed into a baby. We'll Benjamin Button him.
Oh cool. Maybe now they can do a Hollywood Mega Man movie starring Brad Pitt.
I'd watch it.
No, don't support that.
Yeah.
No, I support it.
Okay. And Yuna comes back into the picture here as well, who reveals that she's she was the original mother of the Mother Lode, and she is indeed embodying Roll's mom's body, who nearly died on the expedition to Forbidden Island, and Yuna has brought her back to life, but is staying in her body until she gets her stuff done. And she kind of becomes your Roll from here. You go up to Elysium in her ship, and she's your comms backup.
Your spotter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of liked that move. I liked having your different supporting character giving you advice through this last leg of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think she actually talks more than Roll ever does, and for some reason Roll doesn't talk that much in this game in some areas. At least, well, it feels like she always gets cut off, I guess, a lot. She felt like she talked more in the first game in the dungeons. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like, sometimes I notice she would say something, when she does talk now, usually it's a lot more obvious in some of the dungeons. It's like, hey, you just, disabled this security thing. Maybe there's another one. I'm like, yeah, I know. I already checked the door.
Elysium is tough. It's a tough dungeon. It's kind of like a return of almost everything you encountered before. Thankfully, without the water segments, but there are areas with increased gravity and these horrible little traps that will grab you and hold you in place and suck all your health away.
Those.
Oh,
and
those exist. Those exist in the Salbato ruins.
yeah, I meant to mention
Yeah.
that because I think that was about the turning point for me when I'd become very frustrated with this game, with the presence of those.
I don't remember how to get out of the traps. I think you have to roll, like you actually do like the side roll. But I just at that point I was like, you know what, just catch me. I don't care. I'm not going to sit there and play games with this.
Once you hear that ding sound,
Yeah.
you can jump, and that is
Okay.
a way to get out of it. But
Oh,
once
you jump. Okay.
I found that out very late. But once you're in it, like, ugh, no.
I don't know who thought like some whoever tested that needs to whatever. We went over this already. Testers didn't do their job.
Well, I don't know about that. I wouldn't go that. I wouldn't blame the testers here.
True.
It's a big dungeon where you're manipulating gravity levels to sometimes you're increasing gravity, so if you'll stomp on a weak floor, it will give way, or you're decreasing gravity, so you can do some big moon jumps to get to higher areas. And it's full of really mean monsters, including a Mega Man style boss rush against the big bosses of the 4 main ruins from earlier in the game. So you get to fight that blob again.
You get to I think there's more than 4 actually, isn't there?
Oh, was there?
I think there's because I'm trying to think.
I
feel like there was
only remember the
frog.
Yeah, there's the
frog,
frog.
the jellyfish,
And there's the Tyrannosaurus
giant-
again.
Tyrannosaurus, and okay, maybe there was 4.
It's nice that they made
there's-
backups.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And they placed them exactly in these rooms.
Although hopefully you're not fighting any of them with the drill arm equipped.
Yes, you don't need the
Yeah.
drill. You don't have to take the drill arm there. Thank God.
Seems
Yeah.
like
Take it
there's
everywhere
a
else,
lot
man.
less need for the drill arm in this game than there was in the first game. You
Well,
still
after the
need
second-
it, but
After the second dungeon, you don't need it.
yeah, that's what I was getting
Yeah.
at.
Before that, you need it way all the time.
Yeah, but not to have to take it anymore.
These
Yeah.
bosses are. If you built the shining laser at this point, these bosses are a little bit of a joke. Outside of the stupid jellyfish thing, which you can't sit still, otherwise they kill you.
Yeah. I
Uh,
like the music there at least.
yeah,
Yeah.
the music in this last part of the game is really, really good. And that takes us up to our final encounter with Sarah, who gives us a big 2-part battle a la Mega Man Juno. It's kind of a similar big, elegant skirt-wearing robot who fires lasers at you.
Teleports.
Yeah, teleports. Scott, you had quite a time with this on stream.
Yeah, and I mean, I could have made it easy. I totally forgot that I had picnic lunches and stuff like that. I could have just actually probably forced the issue, but
Now,
I totally forgot about those.
Now, what are
What?
picnic lunches? I think I've missed
So-
out on this.
If you buy all the stuff for roll, like the newspaper and the TV and stuff, not only do you get a discount eventually, and you get to see the scene with roll in the bathroom and stuff like that. If you want to see that, you can go to the refrigerator and pick up picnic lunch.
Okay.
Ah,
So here's actually it's kind of cool about the picnic lunch. If you sell the picnic lunch, roll gets mad at you.
All right. Is that
Roll gets mad at you because you sold the lunch she made for you, and that's mean. You don't do that.
flipping her food?
Yeah.
no.
You read the diary. She knows so much about something. Like if
That's
you
a
sit and
weird
roll
thing to
through-
do.
Yeah, you read the roll. She knows everything. In fact, that diary changes depending on what you do in some of the actions. Like if you shoot roll a bunch of times at the beginning of the game, roll says Mega Man's so mean. He keeps shooting me with this buster. It hurts.
Actually, I got that one. I hit her
Yeah.
a couple times on accident because like all the Reaper bots are around her.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
got the little entry. It's like I don't even know if he cares about me. I felt really bad.
Yes, there's that. I actually like the roll. That system's actually kind of cool. It's one of those things that you don't expect in that game, but
Yeah, that's neat.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, there's other items like the stuff you get from the quizzes, like those milks and stuff like that. Those are health refresh items. I have like all of those items. I just totally forgot about them.
Okay. Yeah. Got to save them all for the end game and then forget to use them. That's me in every JRPG.
Oh yes.
I literally just forgot about them. It's just like whatever. Okay.
For so long now, I mean, like dating back to the 90s, my brother always makes fun of me because in any Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger, I'm bad about it in that too. It's like I don't use like mega elixirs and stuff like that. He's always like, oh yeah, you just get them and like save them, and I'm like, but you never use them. I'm like, I know. Like Chrono Trigger is the only one I can get out of the argument on because there's New Game Plus. I'm like, well, I want to carry him over so I can not use them in the next playthrough.
Exactly.
Video games are so much easier when you use the items they give you.
I know.
I'm just like everybody. Like I'm guilty. I was guilty of that in the past two. Like back in the day, that's the same thing I did. Oh yeah, I'll use these for the last. I never use them for the last boss. I use them the second playthrough. I'm level 99. You know.
So with yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I was just saying I learned my lesson later in life.
Well, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, right.
With Sarah vanquished, that is the end of the Elysium Lot's plan. But Mega Man and Yuna in Roll's mom's Matilda's body are stuck on Elysium together. I'm not really sure what happened to her ship.
Gats is destroyed.
Oh right,
Gats is the controlling the ship, right? But Gats tries to take over Sarah because to help, so you could actually attack her, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do it, right? Because she's too powerful. So, but Gats gets destroyed, so there's no ship control.
I guess I missed that. That makes sense. Yeah, so that's Yuna, Matilda in the same body, and Mega Man all stuck on Elysium together. But Mega Man's optimistic about it because he knows that Roll will come up with a plan to save him, and that's Roll credits on this game.
Yeah, and the game hints right there that, like, because they talk about all the ancient Reaver bots, like, oh yeah, there's still more. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they might come out of the woodwork and stuff like that. Oh yeah, there's got to be like a third game. There's stuff there. There's stuff there to explore. We're going. There's gonna be a third one. Let's go.
I mean, I just as much as you, I really want that third game as well. However, this game wrapped up a little bit more neatly than I expected it to.
Yes, it does.
Because I'd heard a lot about Mega Man being stuck on the moon, and I thought it was going to be more of a cliffhanger. But this actually felt kind of complete. At least I felt that way.
It feels way more complete than the first game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's complete. Very open. Like they obviously really intended to continue it.
You can't hint at the other ancient ruins, like when Sarah and Yuna, you can't hint at stuff like that, and like, oh, there's more. There's like, because they talk about the ancients, like the people that obviously the master descended from, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you can't hint at that stuff and like not expect people to want to play that stuff, right? That's what always bugged me. It's not so much Mega Man being stuck on the moon. Right, that's just a plot device to eventually start the third game. I think that's a great way to do that. But you can't hint that there's more to this world, which is what I want to learn about, and not show it off.
Well, I mean, I think there's something to be said for hinting at a world being bigger than it is to flesh out your narrative a bit. I don't think that you have to show everything, but obviously they were hoping to do a third game, and well, we know how that went. We know that they hoped very much that they could, and it didn't end up happening in the end. But yeah, whereas Mega Man Legends 1 feels like the end of that feels like the beginning of a story. That story and what the mother lode is, all those questions are answered by the end of this, and I was a little bit more satisfied with it than I would have thought from what I heard about it secondhand.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, no, that's 100% fair. This game answers everything that from the first game kind of hints at, and then they try to like make you excited for a third one. It does a good job at wrapping everything up, I think.
I love the little post-credit scene.
Yes, let's talk about that stinger.
Yeah, Roll and Tron together are awesome.
And then they yell at poor Data.
Yes. Can we talk about the fact that Tron figures out her finances on an abacus?
It's very good.
In this world of computers and calculators and whatever else, she's using an abacus.
Abacus doesn't fail, right? It gives you the numbers it needs exactly.
It's
right?
true.
It doesn't get erased.
But technically, she should have like a robot computer brain.
Yes, actually, that too.
But the abacus also kind of rolls. Not roll. Tron is a little stingy. She does not like spending money.
She's very much a miser.
Yes.
And it kind of fits in with the rough and ready old school messiness of the Bond family at home.
Yeah.
Right. I love that they really committed to the money thing, like from the beginning, that first sequence all the way to the end where she's like, well, we don't all have like a ton of money like you roll.
Not everyone can build the engines that you make, right?
Yes.
Tron is a class hero.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, Data has all the plans. He's like, look, it doesn't need anything special. It doesn't need money. And he just gets screamed at. And that's that.
Yeah, and if they just listen to him, he's the only one that got off the moon somehow.
Yeah, how did he do that?
Because he's a magic monkey.
He's a magic monkey.
He did the monkey all the way back home.
Yeah. So he got home somehow, so he knows something. And obviously he knows something because he's Mega Man's storage data unit. He's got all the information, right? So he knows what he's doing, but the poor girls just yell at him, and he's like, oh, sorry, Mega Man. Just got to wait a little bit longer.
A lot longer.
Years. Sorry.
But unless I'm forgetting something, they don't know that, right? Like, doesn't only Mega Man know that? As far as Roll knows, doesn't she just know that he's a little monkey robot that set the kitchen on fire?
At this point, I think they know that Roll because they met Mega Man and Data. I mean, Barrel should know because he's the one that found Mega Man and Data. Right,
I don't think they do know because there's a bit. I think it's in the manual that says that only Mega Man can understand what Data's saying, and he just sounds like monkey sounds to everybody else.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that really in the? You know what? I want to go read that actually. I want to see that manual. There's manuals right over there.
I mean, there's some weird stuff in the manual though. There's a lot of like not mistranslations. Like I guess they were doing something else with the localization. So like some of the characters have different names in the manual, and I don't know if that's ever touched on in the game or not.
It would be weird if they didn't understand him.
Nobody seems to listen to Data, and he's just got all the secret Mega Man memories. So it does fit.
They tell him to shut up.
Well,
but
if he's just like in their face squeaking.
Okay, maybe I don't know. That's I didn't think about that, but
then wouldn't Data know? Wouldn't Data know that they can't understand him too?
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I have all these questions.
Yeah. This is not a hard SF game by any means.
But like still, even if that's the case, like Barrel should know that Data was with Mega Man. So like they're obviously related. He got off the moon. So all they need to figure out is like how Data got off the moon and no one else did. I mean, like, right? Yeah, right. That's
right. Well, maybe we'll get on that
angle.
Yeah, maybe we'll learn the answer in the third game.
Yes.
Please read my fan fiction.
In the year 2050.
That is Mega Man Legends 2. Final thoughts, folks. Mike, how was it revisiting this?
I mean, I feel like we griped a lot about some of the stuff in this game, and I think it's all legitimate. But overall, I think it's definitely a stronger game. I think they expanded on what they were trying to do a lot more. There was more variety, like I said before. I feel like if they had kept making them, I think they would continue to refine them.
Most definitely.
I think a lot of the first game was refined in this one, and then they have some of these encounters that dragged out a little bit. So I'm sure they could have refined that further too. But overall, I think definite improvement.
Yeah,
and the controls alone just make it so much nicer to play.
Yes,
I think they had a good game plan going in for this one, and they executed it well. And like you said, I think if they kept doing it, because they took that Zelda style formula, right, which is what almost every game does now, right? It kind of blurs the line between RPG and adventure game, and that's what everyone plays now. It's like every other game does that now, and I think if they continue to do that, they would have had the third and maybe fourth game. Who knows, right? Probably could have been amazing games, like top of the line games.
I'm not sure if I enjoyed this as much as the first game. I definitely found it easier to play, and I'm very happy that it is available for anybody who has a Vita or a PS3 to buy at a low price. Whereas before it was just, prohibitively expensive and difficult to find. However, as I said, I think the second half of this game is backloaded with good ideas executed very poorly. And more often than not, I don't know if it's mostly because I was playing under a strict time limit to host this or what, but I just found myself frustrated with the back half more often than not. I still do like it, though. And I like the characters, but I was just like, I just kind of felt like I wanted to cry when I was finishing this up at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, I can understand. At the end of the day, how long did it take you guys to beat the game?
I had about 15 hours on my clock.
Yeah, it's not that. It's still not even that long.
Yeah,
like
it's a bit longer than the first game, but I also the sponginess. I felt like
I understand.
I felt like my time wasn't quite being respected if some of those encounters were like a little bit shorter, or if some bosses didn't take quite so many hits.
Or if your special weapons actually did damage to those bosses.
Yeah, what's the point of having them if they just overshoot and hit a tree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's Mega Man Legends 2. Like its prequel, it's refined from its prequel, but it's still, it has its issues, but it's still an extremely charming game, extremely charming pair of games. I would still. I think we would all welcome the return of Mega Man Legends 3 with some miracle, maybe some miracle related to Mega Man 11 doing well.
Yes,
and you don't necessarily need Inafune. He had a pretty light touch on these pair of games. He was in a producer role, but I mean, it was a lot of the. It was funny that Mike Solosi. Joked that the overworld is by the Breath of Fire team and the dungeons are by the Resident Evil team. I had a little bit of a peek at the credits, and I saw that's pretty much what this game is. It's a blend of the Resident Evil 2 team and the Breath of Fire 3 team coming together to make a beautiful dig-out adventure in Halcyon Days.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure how they were split. I don't think they were split between, Overworld and Dungeon, but they certainly all came together to put this together.
They were blending the line between RPGs and adventure games way before everyone else was.
They were. I think they did. They made an admirable effort, frustrations aside.
Mm-hmm.
That's me dropping things on the floor. And that is us for this week. Next week, we have a special Halloween episode hosted by Marcuse on Mermaid Swamp. I'll be taking part of that. I think Greg Delmage will be on there as well. It's a cute little wolf RPG maker horror adventure by Uri. And then in November, we are going to be playing Golden Sun. Also, just a couple of days ago, a Halloween feature went up on the site. It's a written feature spearheaded by Tina Ola. About our favorite experiences with horror-themed RPGs and maybe some not-so-horror-themed games that have some spooky elements. So do check that out. Get in with the spook season. If you want to email us, you can reach us at retro@rpgfan.com. Comment on our boards. We love getting your feedback, especially iTunes reviews, which help us get visibility and also give us valuable tips on how to refine the show and make it better for you. But that's where we'll close out this week. Mike, where can people find you if they want to contact you?
Nowhere. Or
classic.
At Valkyrie Studio on Twitter, or, of course, Mike at rpgfan.com if you want to go old school and email me. I say old school, but I use email all the time. So.
And Scott, you are all over Twitch.
Oh, yes. No. You can always find me on the RPG Fan Twitch channel. We stream almost every night. And if I'm not streaming, someone else is streaming. So definitely check all this stuff out. We just played Mega Man Legends 1 and 2 on stream. And we played the Misadventures of Tron a while back. Fun games. Yes.
Now that you've wrapped up the Mega Man Legends games, what's next on the Twitch stream for you?
Next up is Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC.
Torna, right?
Yes, we're doing that right now. If you probably listen to this at this point, it's probably over.
Okay.
Right now it's probably over. So just a heads up. But we're probably streaming something else at this point. So lots of fun games. I want to do Residence Fate if you're a fan of Residence Fate.
Yeah, that just came back out again, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Couple more days here in the UK. It's been delayed a week, but I'm looking forward to trying that one again. I got as far as when you have 2 party members because your lady gets sick and you got to get her chicken soup. I think that's about how far I got.
That's the game in a microcosm. It's like, someone's sick. All right, cool. Anyway, so yeah, you can always find me there. You can always talk to me on Discord and stuff like that. I'm available all the time, but definitely check all the streams. Lots of fun. We have lots of fun on the Twitch channel. Come join us.
Absolutely. Definitely do that, folks. It's a fun place to be. And you can find me on Twitter at Misanthrobob, where I'm stuck on my own personal Elysium. But that's us this week, folks. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time. In the words of the inimitable Mike Solosi, good night and good luck.